There is something brewing in Tiger Town, and no, I don't mean that Tiger Town. Welcome back to the YouTube channel Pro Enzo Vids, and this afternoon's video is, a very interesting one. And regardless of how this club goes in 2024, it doesn't matter, but I decided to make a video about why I think the West Tigers are clubs to look out for in the future, and why I do believe there is something brewing there at the club. So obviously, a lot of change in the off-season for West Tigers. I guess new coach who would have been the coach next year, who should have started next year, but obviously got rid of their old mentor Tim Sheens a year early. They've changed the squad yet again, with adding a lot more younger players to the squad, which, obviously a heap of young 18, 19-year-olds, it can take a bit of time to all gel, but wait 3 or 4 years and you'll see the benefits, which is why this video is mainly particularly on them and why they're in the future to make this club a lot better than what they are right now. But before I get into the video, please be sure to like this video and do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. I'm currently at 3,855 subscribers, so well past my goal of 3,850. So I guess the road is to now 3,100 subscribers. So look, any support, any subscribers out there, or any subs I should say, would be greatly appreciated, no doubt, as well. But thank you for the new support recently. But comment your thoughts on the West Tigers, and if you agree with my sort of thoughts in the future going forward, etc. But no, look, it's good. It's gonna be a good video. I really do see the benefits in having a young squad and how it will look in the future, and what they're doing with their junior pathways too. So sit back and enjoy. The West Tigers. So the Tigers, obviously for the last 13 years, the last decade I should say, have been probably the worst side in the competition, unfortunately. Obviously missing the finals for those consecutive seasons and haven't made it since 2011. And definitely one of the longest finals droughts that I've ever seen, to be honest. But look, it's obviously something that the Tigers have, tried to fix before about their, improving the club. But unfortunately, any improvement, it seems to be a backward step, unfortunately. They obviously had Michael Maguire as their coach, and everyone thought that he'd be the future coach there, but got punted a couple of years ago now. They had Ivan Cleary at one stage, who we all thought Cleary would be the guy that would make the Tigers successful, because obviously when he first joined in mid-2017, obviously Tigers were struggling back then too. But 2018, with a full pre-season, he nearly got Tigers into the finals. So you see the Tigers have been sort of up there before, competing for the 8, and have looked promising. And despite the baddies they've had, they've had a lot of potential, but haven't really seemed to have the right people to exploit it. That potential. But what I'm liking now, though, obviously they have recently appointed Shane Richardson as their interim CEO, but don't be shocked if he does become the full-time CEO very soon. Obviously Shane Richardson is someone that's been well known in the game of rugby league for a long time. Had success at the Panthers back in 2003, guiding them to a premiership. They had him at South Sydney for a bit. Had 2 stints there, obviously got into the 2014 comp, but came back in 2016 too. And not to mention, Jerome Luai coming to the Tigers too was all part of Shane Richardson's plan. I know originally the other owners, like Pascoe and Hangan Patelis, were part of the negotiations, but Richardson has had more history with Luai, and that got the pen over the paper in the end. And yes, they've signed Solomon Fatape, so that's another one Richardson's been keen on from the Brisbane Tigers. But I believe Shane Richardson is someone that is very keen on the Macarthur region and getting the West Tigers juniors from out there, unlike the previous CEOs, Justin Pascoe and Lee Hangan-Patelis, who I don't think have that same idea about getting the juniors from out that system, but Richardson is caring about the club more, it seems. But Richardson obviously wants to, make things better for the club. He seems to really have a passion towards making things right, and that's why he's going into the bigger junior pool in the Macarthur region. So obviously goes out from places like Lamia, Macarthur, Camden, and Ingle Park, and Camden, and probably places as far as Liverpool too, because they do cover that whole Liverpool area too. So that's pretty important in the end. And no disrespect to places like Concord and also Balmain, but I don't think there's a big enough pool of juniors to really find from there, unlike out west. And, obviously they've got some locals from that whole Balmain Concord area, but I think if you want a bigger talent pool, well, going out that way of west is the way to go. And back on that, as we know, obviously, if you have a team full of juniors, full of rookies, and players that come from the area, it's more likely you'll have success, and you'll have players that actually play for the jersey and have heart for the area that they play for and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty important that the Tigers are looking to nullify their spot in one area, because I guess what's hard for the Tigers is that they've got 2 home grounds in different places of Sydney. I guess Leichhardt's more at our main area, then you've got Campbelltown Sports Stadium, which is more out west, so you've got to really find where their main identity is, but I'd say west is probably their best sort of opportunity to have success, I'd say. But yeah, I think what Richardson's doing is really good, and I think he'll be a good addition to the Tigers, and I can see the fans already love what he's doing right now, and I can't blame them. So yeah, I think Richardson is the main man to have faith in. But in terms of local talent and talent we've currently got in the roster, it's a lot, because I think it's the best sort of junior nursery the Tigers have had it for a while now, and it's probably taken a while to really find this much juniors in their area that they could, and they seem to really have found players that I think will be good for the club long term. Guys like Kit Liao-Leahy and his brother Luke Liao-Leahy, who I've seen highlights of, will be really good for the future. Someone like also Talon De Silva, who's a Campbelltown junior. Same with Lachlan Galvin. The Finery boys have also got a lot of talent, so if they can be well progressed properly into first grade, then they'll be ones to watch in the future too. Jordan Miller is a unit, and he's from Liverpool out that way, and they've also got a lot of players that have come through that whole nursery of talent throughout those ways out the Campbelltown, Macarthur. So, obviously it's good to see. I think it's positive for their future too, to have that many rookies, and as I said before, it may take time to become a serious threat with all these rookies in your top 30 squad, but over time it definitely gets better. Trust me, it gets better. I think Panthers were sort of the same, and Panthers obviously had a bit of experience back when they were that good. Obviously for a while they had guys like Campbell Gillard and Bryce Cartwright, and had Josh Mansell and more these experienced old heads there, while the juniors were coming up and making names for themselves, and eventually got pushed into first grade around 2019, 2020. And I'm not saying that the Tigers will be like the Panthers anytime soon, but I'd see it as a very similar situation. Tigers currently have a few experienced old heads in their teams, like Clemmer, Caesar, Papali'i's experienced too, fairly experienced, and yeah, they've got a few, I guess, and Coruscant too, so they've got a few guys that are experienced and probably getting back into their careers now. And once those guys do retire, and once those young guys who are rookies in the club, once they find their feet and experience and learn a bit more from those older heads in the team, I think that's when you'll see the best of them come up and show what they've got. So that's why I'm very keen to see how the Tigers do go in the future. And look, Benji as coach, well, I'd say Benji is the best coach for the Tigers right now. If his current squad right now, he's the best coach now and long term too. And I'll explain why. So obviously some people are questioning why Benji is so hyped up as a coach, and why he will be a good coach just because he played for the Tigers and was a club legend too, But there's obviously more than just being a club legend to make a good coach. But I think for those young boys and those rookies that the Tigers have, Benji Marshall is probably the best role model that they could probably have for those guys. I feel like, obviously Benji, while he was playing, most of those young kids in that team would probably have watched him come up and play, and would have probably grown up childhood-wise watching him play too. I mean, Benji was part of my childhood, and I think it was probably those other young kids' childhood player too. So, I think he's the best guy for that young Tigers team, and I think he's a really good mentor and a good communicator too. And obviously before, if Lee Hank Patelis and Justin Pascoe both stayed, and even though they've expressed their support for Benji, if they stayed, I don't think Benji would have been around for long, to be honest. I mean, knowing the history of all the Tigers coaches that have come and gone, it's been off the back of the CEO and owner. So I think now with a bit more of a supportive CEO in Shane Richardson, who which I like about him was he backed Benji Like, he didn't say that, oh, look, we're not going to confirm Benji as our long-term mentor yet. And obviously he wouldn't say it publicly, but obviously, you know, if he has come out publicly and been back the coach, well, that's really a good sign. And especially Benji's saying to become a full-time head coach too. So, yeah, I think that gives Benji great confidence going forward as well. But probably just, yeah, his influence will be good for the young boys there. And, you know, I'm sure they've all, you know, prioritised Benji as their favourite player as a kid, and probably loved watching him play when they were young kids as well. So, yeah, he's probably the best possible coach for that squad. And over time, as experience and years go by, yeah, he can be really, really a real force on that group. But in how long until the Tigers do have success, that remains to be seen. I think they will be definitely one day very competitive once again, and I think this is the right avenue to go from with all their rookies and really basing themselves out west, and definitely getting some right people around the club to guide them. And, you know, they've obviously fixed their back room up a bit. They've fixed their squad just a little bit, but probably over time will, you know, have to make more changes. As Shane Richardson said, he said he will get the squad he wants eventually for Benji. And yeah, going forward, I think Tigers do have a bright future, and I think it's only a matter of time until we do see glimpses of greatness coming up for that club again. But what's your thoughts on the future of the West Tigers, and do you believe there is something brewing at the club? Let me know in the comment section down below. But if you enjoyed it, as always, like this video and do subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And yeah, again, thank you to everyone who did get me to 3,150 subscribers. That was the goal, so thanks for that. And the next goal now is 3,900 subs, so that's the next sort of road to that 3,900 subscriber mark. But everyone have a good afternoon, good night, and yeah, hope you all enjoyed.